Excellent. Welcome, welcome. Lesson 8 in our acids and base unit. We're going to hit up the titration calculation. So a titration is the technical term for when you mix an acid and a base to neutralize each other. We know that it makes water and a salt, but now we're going to figure out, can we use this idea, because an acid kills a base and a base kills an acid, can we figure out the concentration of an acid or a base if we don't know it? And the answer is yes, but we just have to know the concentration of the stuff we're using to kill it. So if we don't know the concentration of acid, but we do know the concentration of base, if we use the right amounts of these things, we can neutralize the reaction and figure out how concentrated the unknown was. So here is the basics. Okay, if you know the concentration of a base and you can detect when a pH is neutral, like using an indicator or a pH probe. You can add the base to an acid carefully and find out how concentrated the acid was. You drip it in slowly until it doesn't react anymore. That tells you when the reaction's neutralized, and that tells you the amounts of materials you've used. So titration is the process of carefully neutralizing an unknown acid or base. Generically, it works like this. You add a base that has a known concentration to an acid with unknown concentration. And in our lab, this is exactly what you will do. You're going to measure the amount of acid that we will titrate. So 10 mils, 5 mils, 100 mils, whatever it is, you just got to know how much you're using. Then you measure the amount of base that was added. So you add all this base to a known amount of acid. You know when it is finished reacting, and then you see how much base you had reacted. So if you had 10 mils of acid, didn't know the concentration, and you drop 30 mils of known concentration base into it to neutralize it, you can then do some calculations, and it's called the titration calculation, to find the molarity of the unknown. And the results of a titration are always going to be the volume of the base, the concentration of the base, the volume of the acid, which was unknown concentration, and you have to solve for the concentration of the acid. So this is algebra coming back. And here's our equation. So example problem, I'm going to the board. What is the concentration of a solution of HI, that's an acid, because it's got H at the beginning of its formula, neutralized by KOH, that's a base. Okay, so we find out our molarities, volumes, as we go. So the concentration of a solution of acid. So what is the concentration of the acid? We don't know that. So we're going to put our X in for M, molarity, concentration, acid. If 0.5 liters of the acid, I'm assuming 0.5 liters, is neutralized by 0.3 liters of a 0.4 molar solution of KOH. Well, the molarity of the base is 0.4 molar. It tells us in the problem. And the volume of the base is 0.3 liters. So we start with our equation, MaVa. So the molarity of the acid times the concentration of the acid is equal to the molarity of the base times the volume of the base. Okay, so we just plug in our numbers as we go. Ma in this case is X, unknown, we're solving for it. Volume of acid is 0.5 liters. The molarity of the base is 0.4, capital M per molar. And then the volume of the base is 0.3 liters. So the math that you come up with is going to be 0.5x 0.12, and then you divide both sides by 0.5, and then X is going to equal the concentration of the acid. Let me see if I did this right. 0.4 times 0.3. Yes, divided by 0.5. And so the concentration of the acid is going to be 0.24 capital M for molarity. And that is the easy math, quick math that you got to do for titrations. Let's see, is there any more else? No, there isn't. Last lesson coming up. So I didn't do much practice in this video because they're all as simple and straightforward as this. You just solve for the X value that you are presented with from reading the word problem. And it's solved by just applying basic algebra, get X by itself, and you're good to go. Okay, so thanks for watching. See you next video. Find my button, I turn off my video.